Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, California Weather Watch. Today is March 13th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery with the air mass characteristics overlaid. You can see the green is where the subtropical and the tropical air lie. The purples and the reds here showing that cooler trough over the Gulf of Alaska. And hard to miss here, this atmospheric river, it is a strong one. It's got its eyes on California. You can see the cyclogenesis undergoing as we speak here. This is going to slam into the central coastline, bringing that atmospheric river across the state here. Strong winds over saturated soil with big snowpack, and this is not a good combination here. A recipe for some pretty severe flooding. We'll take a look at these details here coming up in a moment. This is the jet stream. There is Hawaii here. You can see this thing just powering across the Pacific, leading the storm into the state of California, and there's California right here to the far right. Now, looking at damaging winds here, National Weather Service Sacramento, gusts up to 60 miles per hour are possible. And, you're going to have some pretty saturated soils out there, so trees are going to fall much easier versus normally with this kind of wind. So prolonged power outages are possible across the region here. High wind warnings in effect for a lot of the central coastline, including the Bay Area. Also, coastlines could hit 70 miles per hour, as well as hills above 1,000 feet across the region here. So yeah, power outages are likely here with this system coming in, folks. And so we don't have just the flooding to worry about. The winds are an issue as well. Here's the National Weather Service Sacramento talking about tonight through Tuesday. Biggest impacts, major impacts, high snow levels that we've been talking about here, and the potential for flooding that we'll look at here in a moment. This was a preliminary tornado report here. You got an EF1 with 90 mile per hour winds, about 100 yards wide here, approximately 0.8 of a mile long. No injuries or deaths, so that's a good thing there. And that would have occurred just east of Stockton in this area here, just near Sonora, California. Kind of interesting. So looking at the National Weather Service, some of their wording is pretty strong here. They talk about that moderate to strong atmospheric river, direct threat to life and property from wind and water impacts. Flooding of streets, creeks, and streams is expected. Major impacts may occur from river flooding. Flash flooding, debris flow are possible in complex terrain, down trees, widespread power outages, and difficult to impossible travel. Do not travel if you don't have to, is what they're basically telling you. While there's plenty more could be written about this atmospheric river from a meteorological perspective, brevity may be best here. This is shaping up to be a significant system with the potential for wide-reaching and long-lasting impacts. Now is the time to prepare. And honestly, I hope you guys have been preparing the last few days. If you watch this channel consistently, hope you have been. But anyway, it says get gas for generators. You still have a little bit of time to do that. Clean your storm drains and gutters, tie down, move loose objects, move them inside. Make sure you have your supplies and your go bag, and be ready to evacuate if you are in a low-lying area and you know who you are, hopefully, by this point. Now taking a look here. Let's back this up a little bit here. This is the atmospheric river. This is the European as of last night. And in fact, let's update this and get the most recent data as we speak here. You can see the system developing off the shoreline here, and it's going to power in here. Nice slug of moisture coming over saturated soils. And a lot of snow going to occur. Strong atmospheric river all the way down through Southern California shown there. So, yep, this storm is on its way, folks. We've been watching this for a few days now, and it is almost go time. The precipitation should be reaching the coastline by the time we get towards this actually tonight and on through tomorrow morning. This is 72-hour precipitation. You can see just some of the ridiculous amounts across some of the higher terrain here in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada, including some of the coastal areas here, all the way down through California, including some of the Los Angeles metro here as well. This is day one excessive rainfall outlook here. It starts with Northern California here through the Sierra Nevada here, some of the Siskiyous, all the way down towards the Bay Area a bit. Day two here is some big impacts, of course, along the foothills of the Sierra Nevada. You can just imagine this warm southwest flow being slammed into the mountain range here and being lifted by the terrain and wringing out that moisture, heavy precipitation. Same thing along the coastal ranges here, all the way down through Southern California. And this is day three as that atmospheric river finally moving out of the region. This is the NAM 3KM speed ahead. This goes out 60 hours, and you can clearly see this. I mean, it's almost like it's picking on California at this point and just kind of including Southwest Oregon. Just ridiculous amounts all the way down through Southern California and across that Sierra Nevada range here. Just incredible amounts. This is only 60 hours out here, the NAM 3KM high resolution model. Now looking at this is Sacramento. These big winds as well. I want to highlight this again. Gusts up into the 50s are likely here across much of the area, Central California, even into the valley, especially the higher terrain. San Francisco International, you can get some gusts up into the 50 mile per hour plus range as well. Lake Tahoe, look at this. The ensemble mean is actually into the low 60s here. So big winds coming across the higher terrain with this low pressure system moving in. Now, taking a look here, this is the GFS 12Z. Let's put that into motion. There goes the system. You can see the tight gradient here causing these high wind warnings as it moves across the state. And of course, the big precipitation amounts wet that atmospheric river there. A bit of a break there. And then we'll go into the future a little bit more here, and you can see a couple weak systems may come by, but as you go out a little further here, it's showing some additional systems here as we go out through the beginning of next week coming up here, and then you can see maybe some more activity going on here, potentially another heavy rain here. Round of heavy rain here going out 200 plus hours. It is a ways out there, and this is going to change back and forth here, but it is just showing that the potential for an active weather pattern does continue on through the extended forecast. Some of the models have been showing kind of a cooler trough dropping down across Pacific Northwest and maybe including California as well, which would at least not keep the snow levels high, but it would still build up some snow levels on an incredibly robust snowpack already across much of the state of California. Now, this is looking at the European here. This is last night's run. And put it into motion here. Here goes the storm we've been talking about for days now. It's finally about to hit. There it goes. And now the European shows another system falling apart there onto the extended. You can see some more precipitation occurring there, but it also shows a pretty robust system similar to the GFS as we go about the 200-hour period out there. So yeah, we could remain active through the extended here, folks, and then maybe a cooler trough moving down later on in through March. We'll see how this trends over the next several days. This is looking at last night's European run here, and you can see this low pressure center there. Look at that strong gradient. That's what's going to cause those high winds, mainly central and some in northern California, especially the higher terrain, like I mentioned, as it moves through. And then you can see the system falls apart as it gets here. This one is not too bad here as we get out towards 168, and then the potential for some stronger systems on through the extended again as the never-ending California winter/spring continues here, and then maybe a cooler trough dropping down through the extended across Pacific Northwest. Maybe some mountain snows out of that one here as well. But, you know, this atmospheric river is not the last. That's definitely one thing, the main takeaway from this extended forecast. And there's so much snow water equivalent across the Sierra Nevada here that it's going to cause flooding problems probably on in through April. And we're just hoping it gradually melts versus more of a dramatic melt as we get towards the end of the month here. So we're going to have flooding issues all the way in through April, most likely across much of the state coming up. I like to show this cross section here. This is Mammoth Yosemite Airport out there. The freezing level getting up towards 10,000 feet as you go through the day, Tuesday on in through early Wednesday morning before it crashes back down again. Now looking at this is the European last night's run, total snow couchera in inches, and just kind of showing you guys briefly here that there's some big snowfalls, but mainly confined to the higher terrain here across the Sierra Nevada. Now looking here, avalanche danger is considerable, not quite high for yet, but it could, you know, get back into the high region here as we go on in through the next couple of days and we drop a bunch more precipitation across the region here. But this is a great site, avalanche.org. If you click on these individual areas, you can get all kinds of detailed information here. They have forecast discussions. They put recent pictures out there for some, you know, recent avalanche dangers, and they talk about things in quite some good detail here. A lot of good information on this site. And now this is looking at snow water equivalent. Look at some of these areas well up over 60 inches, 80 inches, some places with over 100 inches of snow water equivalent, which means if you melted down the snowpack, you'd have over 8 feet of water for some of these areas. So a pretty impressive snowpack across the Sierra Nevada. And across some of the Sierra Nevada, it's the deepest snowpack ever, or the highest snow water equivalent ever across some of the Sierra Nevada here, even beating those record winters, like, for example, the 1982-1983 winter there. Yeah, so we're starting to set records here. We're making history here across the state of California. But anyway, it's on our doorstep here. It's coming, folks. Hopefully you guys are prepared and you have things in order. You know, try to help out your neighbors out there. Some communities are really going to be hit hard by this system. I may do a live stream tonight, depending on how things go here at home today and what I can get accomplished. But yeah, so maybe I'll do a live stream tonight, and if not, we'll talk about this tomorrow morning, and then that atmospheric river and the storm will be fully underway across the state. We can try to see how things trend, because you know how this goes. We're going to get some last minute changes, and some areas are going to get get bullseyed harder than others. So we'll try to pick up on those changes as we go, either tonight or tomorrow morning. But yeah, hopefully everybody's prepared out there. Yeah, so make sure to click like, subscribe, try to get the word out to everybody across the state of California, and try to, get the page a little bit more exposure here so we can get the word out to as many people as possible. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys either tonight or tomorrow morning, and hope you're having a good day.